Hey guys, and welcome to the newest episode of Be Hero Presents the Bump Card Wrestling Podcast. I am your host, as always, Brian, and with me tonight is my tag partner, Psycho. How you doing tonight, Psycho?
More tired than normal, and that says a lot.
Yeah, we had to start a bit later because, someone had to go to a work party and all that.
Yeah, and I'm tired.
Right?
I'm so tired.
I feel that. Well, we are actually coming off of a very good pay-per-view, SummerSlam. I'm actually excited to talk about this one. I enjoyed pretty much most of it, including scaring the crap out of you while you were over at my house.
Oh my gosh. We're going to talk about that?
You're damn right. This is why you don't fall asleep over at Mike's house.
It could be worse. Could have got glitter bombed.
This is true. So, all right, guys. So we're going to go ahead and jump right into this. But before we do, I want to hear your guys' thoughts on the SummerSlam, as well as some of the matches we'll talk about tonight. So please reach out to us on our social medias at Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Be Hero Media. You can also reach out to us through our site, BeHeroMedia.com. We also have a bunch of different things on there, including blogs that we update regularly and things like that. So please reach out to us through one of those. And then if you're on Spotify listening to this, you can actually go and hit up a poll. There will be a questionnaire at the end asking what your favorite match was. So please fill that out. And while you're there, subscribe and share that for us. All right, so let's go ahead and start talking about Nikki. What's the first match we got?
Okay, so the first match was Logan Paul versus Ricochet. When this match started, I thought this is a good opener. They could steal the show, set the card off right. And they had some spots. It was kind of it wasn't a complete spot fest because I think both of these guys can work, but and I think it was helped by having kind of the added story of Logan Paul like kind of interacting with Ricochet's fiance, who was the ring announcer. What's her name? Do you know?
Samantha something.
Oh, okay, Samantha something. So it was really, that part of it was really good. They had some entertaining spots. Logan Paul's really good at getting the heel heat. Yep. He's really good at eliciting that response, and so I'm very high on Logan Paul. Ricochet, to me, I thought that this was a good show. Like, this was going to be a good showcase for Ricochet to get in there with somebody like a Logan Paul and a big match on SummerSlam, one of the big 4 pay-per-views. And honestly, though, I think the time has passed for Ricochet. I think he's perfectly fine mid-carder, but I don't think he's going to be anything more than that. So Logan Paul wins with I guess one of his people, for lack of a better word, was ringside in a, like, kind of covered up, and they gave him a brass knucks, and he used that to knock out Ricochet and get the pin. So yeah, if they were going to do anything with Ricochet, it would have been here to, give him a big win, but that wasn't the case. I think they keep Logan Paul strong, and more good stuff from Logan Paul, though. What are your thoughts?
I agree. I think for the most part, this match was fine. Mm-hmm. And for an opener, it was okay. It got the crowd hot. Logan Paul, like you said, is great about getting heat, and he's a fairly decent worker for what he does. And Ricochet, I think, is still kind of this like one-dimensional character level. Mm-hmm. So it's really hard to get behind him on certain things. His promo skills need some work and such. I mean, his in-ring ability is second to none, right? Right. But he just needs some better in-ring or some better promo skills, and try to build who his character is. Because I mean, outside of the flippity doo like indie worker, who is Ricochet? What's his gimmick like, right? So who is he? You don't know. And I like Ricochet. I've liked him for a long time. Back in the PWG day, PWG days,
Yes.
as well as when he was in Lucha Underground as Prince Puma. Like
Mhm.
I really enjoyed a lot of the stuff he's done. But like with Prince Puma, he had a gimmick, right? He had the character work, and it made him more than he is now.
Mhm.
So it's hard to really be up on him. That being said, I think the WWE is kind of relying on dusty finishes too much for matches to try and make it so that everyone stays strong. And it kind of takes away from the ability of having that, right? You have distractions, you have interference with like brass knucks in almost every match or something like that. Like there's very few matches that ever go clean, and if it is a clean match, they go in knowing it's going to be that. Like uh, Natty and Rhea Ripley, right? You know going into that match that there's no way that Natty's winning this. Where you could have had Logan Paul Ricochet, give Logan Paul the win. It wouldn't hurt, especially the way they were telling the story and everything like that. Give him a good win, and he'd be fine. That being said, I think Ricochet should have won that match because Logan Paul is kind of a part timer. He only comes in for certain events and stories and then leaves. In fact, he's getting ready to do a boxing match here shortly. Um, so why give him the win? It doesn't
Well,
help him. It doesn't help Ricochet.
on one hand, though, like Logan Paul's lost a lot. Like he's lost a lot of his bigger matches, if you think about it. To Seth Rollins um, or whoever he faces, Roman Reigns or whatever. He usually loses. And so I think eventually you have to give him a win so that when somebody beats him, it means something. So maybe that's what they were doing here. Yeah, it could have helped Ricochet if he would have got the win, but at the same time, I just don't see it in Ricochet. He's bland. He is very talented in the ring,
Yeah,
but I I would take somebody that's a little bit less talented in the ring, but somebody who actually you can get emotionally invested in, like over Ricochet any day. I think the only thing that made this interesting was the story they added with his fiance, because without that, this match would have held no interest for me.
yeah. I mean, for what it was as a match, it was perfectly fine.
Mhm.
Um, but honestly, this could have been a match on SmackDown or Raw.
Yep.
So, all right. So
All
let's
right.
go ahead and move on to the next match.
So then, surprisingly, we have Brock Lesnar versus Cody Rhodes in the second match on the card.
Yep.
And this match could have been a semi-main event. Like, not just in potential, but in what they delivered too. Honestly, in my opinion, this might be the best match on the show. It it delivered everything that I was expecting from it and more. The right guy went over. It had a passing of the torch moment. It was very physical too.
Yeah.
Like Cody got his butt kicked, right? He got suplexed over and over again, and he got beat down, and he kept coming back, and it was a fight. It was a really big fight. I know, they went through the announce table on the outside. I think was it an F5 onto the
It
unannounced
was an
table?
F5 onto the announce table.
Yeah. So uh it was a really good match for Brock Lesnar, for Cody Rhodes. Cody wins with I think more than one crossroads, right?
Yeah, he hits 3.
Yeah, he hits 3 on him. And
Mm.
so yeah, it was a good win for Cody to keep his momentum strong so he can move on to something else. Brock, when he wants to put somebody over, there's almost nobody better at putting people over when he's putting them over. He sells like just like a total pro.
Huh.
And Brock had a touching moment at the end where Brock went up and hugged Cody and shook his hand and raised his hand and basically passed the torch to Cody. And I don't know, maybe Brock's going away for a bit, and so he can come back maybe for one final match or one final run. Who knows? But I guess that wasn't planned that they were going to do that.
Nope.
So Brock just kind of ad-libbed that. And I mean, who's going to tell Brock no?
Right.
So, and it was a good moment. I think you know, Cody kind of took that and it was a touching moment. And I was very happy with this match.
I agree. I think it was a very well done match. It was definitely a very strong match for its story. One of the interesting things about this match was in the commentary, they did mention a bunch of times about John Cena losing to Brock in a similar fashion, right? And they're essentially putting Cody over Cena in that aspect that Cody kept getting back up and kept getting back up and kept getting
Right.
back up for it, where Cena did not. And the bit at the end where Brock does shake his hand, they end up putting a lot more on it in the story on Monday. So for Monday Night Raw, following this, um, Cody comes out and talks about it and everything else. And the announcers also mentioned that in his career, Brock's wrestling and MMA career, he's never shown respect like that, or like given a handshake to a competitor after the match. And this is the first time he's ever done it. And then Cody does a really good promo following that, talking about how he's talking to his mom about it and how he was surprised about it. And he's like, and then my mom went off and said, "Dummy, do you not understand what he was doing? Brock Lesnar acknowledged you." And Cody looks right into the camera, like looks right at Roman Reigns through the camera when he says it too. So they're still playing that story where Cody's going to go up against Roman at some point and stuff like that. And he does a great job with that promo. Cody is probably the best promo guy right now, next to maybe MJF. In the like as a worker right now in the business, because he just knows how to get the crowd behind him, how to tell that story and everything else like that. He just does a great job, and it all came off the back of this match. This match was very good. I can't think of a better way for this match to have gone. And this also ties into what I was saying earlier, where WWE relies too much on dusty finishes. This one didn't need a dusty finish, and I'm glad they didn't do it. They could have easily done it.
I mean, it had Dusty Sun in it, so
Yeah, right. But they could have easily gone with a dusty finish, and they didn't, and it makes it that much better that they didn't.
Yeah, no, very very strong match indeed.
So,
so next we have the Slim Jim Battle Royal.
oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I really did like that they had, kind of the little video package, promoting it with the Battle Royals and Macho Man Randy Savage and everything. So that was really cool. But at the end of the day, it was still a Battle Royal.
Yeah.
And it really served one purpose, because there was no other reason, for this match to exist other than, I guess, a big sponsorship. But they could have put the sponsorship on any match, right? It didn't have to be a Battle Royal. I'm pretty sure Slim Jim didn't say, you got any Battle Royals coming up? We'd like to sponsor one. I don't think they did that. I think they're like, here, we want to sponsor a match. And then WWE said, hey, we got a Battle Royal we could do. We could tie it into Randy Savage. And that's kind of what they did. And as a match, it was pretty bland. Honestly, it was it was used as a vehicle to get LA Knight over. He ends up winning, and so it was a nice moment for him. I know there were a bunch of spots in here that were, you had Omos get his own special entrance after the match was almost about to start, and he went out there and looked dominant, and then it took like a bunch of wrestlers to eliminate him. Um, I don't know. I think it served its purpose because it got, LA Knight a much needed win on a big 4 pay-per-view or premium live event, excuse me.
Yeah.
But other than that, yeah, I mean it was fine for what it was.
Yeah, it was
But
just a battle royal.
yeah, nothing special about it other than a moment for LA Knight.
Right. Battle royals are often put on cards to try and get people without storylines, people who may not be right there ready to go onto the card. And this did exactly that. Like, you had a bunch of guys you don't see, like JD McDonough was on there, who did actually have a spot on Monday Night Raw this week, which is nice. But like, you have Escobar on there, you have, of course, LA Knight, you had Cameron Grimes on there. You had a bunch of people in this battle royal who were never going to make it to SummerSlam, right?
Yeah.
They just, there was no way they're going to have a story to go in the SummerSlam.
I think partially though, it's like this match lacked a lot of star power.
Mm-hmm.
There was really, like, to me, like, I didn't doubt for a second that LA Knight wasn't going to win it. Like, it seemed like his match to me. Although they did have people like Austin Theory in there and whatnot, but
AJ Styles.
yeah, that's true. They had AJ Styles, but they haven't really been doing a lot with AJ lately. So
Just the carrying cross thing, which they continued that storyline in this match.
right. So a few different things. I hate battle royals to begin with, to be honest. Other than the Royal Rumbles, I hate watching battle royals for the most part. I hate being in them even more. Like I told you, like I was always, like if we're in a battle royal, I'm always politicking to be the first guy thrown out. It's like I would much rather be the first guy thrown out than win the battle royal. And I remember there was a battle royal not that long ago for one of the New Year's Eve shows, and they ended up booking me to be one of the last 2 guys. Or actually, I don't even think it was booked that way. It was supposed to be like I was supposed to get thrown out at some point, but somehow it ended up being where they called an audible and had me be one of the last 2 guys. And I would have much rather been thrown out first, because that means I've got to last a while, and then I gotta, get beat on, and it's just much rather be thrown out. I don't know. I just think there's too many variables with a battle royal. Yeah, you can make it super simple, but I don't trust a lot of people. And
Yeah.
so, especially at this stage of my career, and so when you've got that many guys in there, both inexperienced and experienced, um, I don't know. It's not a fun day for me.
I feel that a lot. You have these random guys that come up to you and it's like, "Hey, you ready to go?" Sure. Gorilla press to the outside.
Right.
Ugh. Derek. Anyhow, but no, this did exactly what it was meant to do, which was to, like you said, get LA Knight over, and it did that job, and it put the star power behind LA Knight. The saying, like, it tells the fans that the company is behind him as much as the fans are. So keep cheering for him, keep buying his merch. LA Knight's merch is the number 1 sold merch right now. So
Yeah.
the WWE is going to be right behind him, and that showed on Monday night. He's a SmackDown guy, but LA Knight was on Monday night Raw for a spot with The Miz, and it seems like they're going to be doing a program together. So
That'll be good for him. That'll actually be really good, I think, for LA Knight. And I gotta say this, that I don't watch the weekly shows, right? And so I've never really watched a full promo of LA Knights before. And so I don't, I kind of just, I know people are comparing him to The Rock and things like that, right? Well, he was on the press conference that they did after this show. And oh my gosh, I totally get it now. I closed my eyes. It's The Rock. It's like young Rock, like when he was like the people's and the cocky like intercontinental champion.
mhm.
It's that version of The Rock. Like, oh my gosh, it's exactly him. Like, there's no difference. If you close your eyes and listen to him talk, you would not be able to tell the two apart. It's impossible. I tried it. It's
So on Monday, building to the story that they're doing, Miz calls out LA Knight, so he comes out to the ring, and Miz calls LA Knight a cosplayer for a 90s better wrestling or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
and it was so funny. But yeah, I
It's
mean, this did exactly what it was supposed to do. Gets LA Knight over. We'll have to see how
yep.
it goes. Payback's coming up next. They'll probably end up doing a match between him and Miz. So we'll see how it is.
Yeah,
All right,
no, I'd look forward to that one.
what we got next?
Okay, so we got MMA rules: Ronda Rousey versus Shayna Baszler. So this one, I appreciate what they were trying to do, and I did like the story going into it. It just, for me, it was kind of slow prodding. I mean, everything looked good per se, but the crowd was not having it. They were just deader than dead for this match. It was almost kind of train wreck levels for me. Not saying that it wasn't good. It's just there wasn't enough story here to get the fans invested in this. Like, because they're not going to cheer Ronda because Ronda's been positioned as a heel. Shayna's kind of a heel. And so who are the fans going to cheer for? And so it was just a bunch of, a couple of MMA women, rolling around, trying to do takedowns and punch at each other. And I appreciate what they were doing, but probably just a little bit too long for what they were trying. Um, and Shayna wins. So Ronda did the right thing by, she wanted to put over Shayna, and she did that. Don't know if it helps Shayna that much, just because it didn't really have any investment from the fans into it.
You need to
But
watch Monday.
okay, so it was okay from what I saw.
So yeah, it was fine. It did what it was supposed to be doing. It puts Shayna over, and more importantly, it puts Shayna over as a legit threat. Right? It was
Mm-hmm.
a stiff, brutal match. So much so, on Monday, um, Shayna comes out during a promo of Becky Lynch and Zoe Stark, and her wrist is in or like her arm is in a not a in a brace. Her arm's in a
Okay.
brace. She's got a huge black eye under her one eye, which probably came from the knee, the run up knee that Ronda did, and everything
Mm-hmm.
else. And as she gets in the ring, Becky uh, pops up and goes, "Dang, Shayna, you looking rough, girl." And Shayna pops up and goes, "Yeah, well, you should see Ronda Rousey." Oh wait, you're not going to because I beat her and ran her out of the company. And the crowd popped for her. And then her and Zoe Stark had a really good match. After that, a really stiff, good match, and I think that they're aiming to make Baszler almost like a tweener level character, kind of like a Randy Orton, which I think actually fits really well for her.
Yeah, I think it could work for her, and especially if they give her like a little bit more personality,
Mhm.
because if she's just bland, MMA type fighter, it can only go so far. But they need to give her some personality, but not hokey personality, where it's like they try to like make her do jokes and stuff. But if she's just kind of like that, and she has those one-liners of it's like you can't see Rhonda because I ran her out of the company and all that. That's good. So I'd like to see them do more with her.
I hope they continue down that path too. And it seems like what they're going to be doing is they're going to end up kind of doing a program with Baszler and Stark. I think that'll be a
Mhm.
good one for both of them.
Yeah.
And the finish for that though, which was interesting because it ties back into the Ronda and Shayna match,
Mm,
is Shayna wins using
mm.
the Piper's Pit, the Ronda Rousey's finish.
Okay.
So
Okay. Interesting. And we should mention that Shayna beat Ronda by making her pass out.
Yep.
right, to a submission hold. So she got her in that choke or whatever it was, and rear naked choke or whatever, or
Karakuda
wasn't it?
clutch.
Sure, whatever you call it. I better you
Good
than me.
wrestling.
Yes, and yeah, it was fine.
They also pushed on that too because they talked about how in Ronda's MMA career and in the wrestling career, she's never been passed out
Mm-hmm.
ever, or lost by submission, and this was the first time. So they are really putting Shayna over off of this. I was watching another review of this today, and I think it knocked it out of the park. The best way of explaining this is the match that makes Shayna. This is the match that when you go back to and be like, that match is the match that made Shayna Baszler into who she is now and gave us the Shayna Baszler we have. And then someone's like, "Oh, that must be a great match. Should I go watch it?" And be like, "No, but that's the match."
Yes, exactly. I would never go back and watch that match again. But yeah, it accomplished what it needed to.
Exactly. So, all right, next
Perfect.
match.
All right, so now we've got the Intercontinental title match, Gunther versus Drew McIntyre.
Talk about stiff matches.
It was stiff. Nothing I haven't seen a million times from a Gunther match though, and done better, and been stiffer. So there's a joke in there somewhere. But
Giggity.
this was good. I expected more from it though. I really did. I expected like this could have been a show stealer type of a match, and instead, it was just another person for Gunther to go through. And on his way to beating the all-time record for longest reign for Intercontinental Championship held by the Honky Tonk Man.
Yep.
And I think that they want to break that. So, and have it be somebody other than Honky Tonk Man. He's held that distinction for
25 years.
Yeah, long
Something
time.
like that.
Long time.
So.
Basically almost my entire, period as a fan.
Yeah.
But
I
yeah,
think if I remember right, they said it was 94, 95, somewhere in that around that time. It was just before the Attitude Era.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah.
Honky Tonk Man lost it in '88 to the Warrior.
But it's even longer than that then.
Yeah. He lost it to the Warrior at SummerSlam '88. So yeah, nope. It's like 94, 93. That was Shawn Michaels' time.
Oh yeah, I guess that's true.
And Razor. So yeah, no Honky Tonk Mans to be seen there. Can you imagine Shawn Michaels versus Honky Tonk Man? What a clash of styles that would have been.
I agree with you though on this match. This was a fine match, but it was just that, like, to be honest with Drew, like I love Drew. I think he's a great worker. He just didn't have the chemistry to go with Gunther that we've seen in other places. Like, there's some magic between him and Sheamus that's just so good. And I guess everyone was hoping that Gunther and Drew would have that magic, and I just didn't.
Well, though, when they did the triple threat, when Sheamus was in there and these two were in there, it was really, really good. I think they did that at WrestleMania, and it was a really good match. But you take Sheamus out of the equation,
Exactly,
and it's not as good.
Well, Sheamus has got great chemistry with Gunther, and it's got great chemistry with McIntyre. So it was kind of a perfect storm for that. And of course, their match at Clash at the Castle.
You're struggling. I think you said chemistry too.
I probably did. I'm super tired. So we're recording now. It's 10:30, and I've been up since 5 this morning. So
I've got you beat. I've been up since 4.
So yeah. That being said,
yes.
Like I said, this match was fine. It did exactly what it needed to do. Get Gunther a win, and for the most part, he won cleanly. It was a mistake on Drew McIntyre, which was getting himself crotched on the top rope when they're both up at the top, and he falls off, and then Gunther goes for a splash. Did exactly like I said, like it did exactly what it needed to. It won clean. I'm intrigued to see one thing though. So on Monday they did a 4-way for number one contender for the IC title between Ricochet as a sorry that you got knocked in the face with brass knucks. So this is what we're gonna put you into. Tommaso Ciampa to do something with Ciampa.
They need to do
Matt
something with him.
Riddle, huh?
They need to do something with Ciampa.
They do. Matt Riddle, who they are pushing like crazy, and Chad Gable, who is insanely over, and they were also Chad Gable's hometown in Minnesota. So old school rules is you lose. But no, they had a fantastic 4-way. Like it is probably one of the best 4-ways I've ever seen, honestly. So if you get a chance to go back and watch it. And
Okay.
Gable wins, and they're building a story up to have him go up against Gunther.
Well, Gunther's going to destroy him. It's going to be stiff, but he's not the one to dethrone him.
I don't know. They're super hot on him right now. He is over like Grover. Like they were trying to push him as a heel for a hot minute, and the fans said no. Like he is over like crazy right now, and I could see him be the guy. If he beats Gunther for the IC title, that does two things. One, it shows the IC title is a workhorse title again. Because Gable has gone through some crap and has always put on quality stuff. And then it puts him up there. Like it makes Gable a real guy who's, a real guy. It makes him a real boy.
He's a real boy. A real hot boy.
But it says one that anybody can win it, as well as it adds a lot more prestige to the title. I think it's kind of like Henning winning it, sort of. It's that workhorse guy who's always there, always just keeps going and does the thing and everything like that, showing that he's got it. And I think that it would do a great job for him. I could see him being the one. And if they're building it to Payback, by the time Payback comes out, Gunther will have already surpassed Honky Tonk. They also have a match on Raw that's Kaiser versus Otis, and Gunther gets involved, and Gable comes out for the save and gets in Gunther's face to help build towards that. So they're really building this match, and I could see them going either way. Honestly, having Gunther retain or having Gable win. So, but yeah, it's. I have a better feeling about Gable winning than I did for McIntyre winning in this match, honestly.
Okay.
So
for me, I was the opposite, but we'll see.
All right.
So now we're technically 2 hours into this pay-per-view or SummerSlam, and so we got another 2 hours to go as far as the show goes.
Yeah.
So then we have the world title match. Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor. This was a good match. I don't know. They played a lot on the history of Finn getting injured and being the first Universal Champ and things like that. So, this was a good match, and I think it served its purpose. Had a better finish, I think, than their previous match last month.
Yeah.
They had Damian Priest out there kind of teasing like he might cash in his Money in the Bank briefcase. And this is about what you'd expect. Seth Rollins wins, of course, with the curb stomp into the briefcase.
Yep.
Which got slid into the ring when the referee's back was turned. So it was a good finish. I don't have a lot more to say about the match though.
Yeah, I thought it was perfectly fine. They're still doing the build, like they're gonna break up, or at least Finn's gonna leave Judgment Day. Is what it feels like. They even had, like I said earlier, they had the spot with JD McDonough on Raw, and he was talking to Finn, and Finn mentions that he's known JD for over 20 years because he trained JD McDonough. So I it there's a lot of good story being built there. So and yeah, this match was totally fine. This was another one I never felt like was in jeopardy. I didn't think you would see Seth lose.
No.
And even if you see like Finn win, it would then instantly have Priest cash in and
Oh yeah, that was the only way that there was going to be a title change here, is
yeah.
if they used it as a traditional thing, which foreshadowing here. But yeah. And I heard that they're actually kind of building up Judgment Day to be like the big story once they're done with the Bloodline or whatnot, as the big group. So I don't see it yet unless they really come out strong, because they've got so much dissension. But I don't know. I don't doubt WWE's ability to tell stories now, which is crazy to think about.
Right.
because
say
because
that to Nick 2 years ago.
right, no, it was like before, it's like they couldn't tell a story to save their lives, and now it's like they've got my vote, they got my faith, in them to tell a good story if they truly want to. So I've liked this story. I've liked the Dominic Rey Mysterio story that they did. Yeah, they're back to telling stories, and I love it, which is probably why I'm more invested in WWE than I have been in a long time.
I agree. I'm in pretty much the exact same boat right now. As you are, I am as well. We're big fans of storytelling when it comes to wrestling, and they are knocking it out of the park. They are right now, I think, at their peak of storytelling since the Attitude Era. I don't think that they've had anything better uh, at any point in between the two times. So
Yeah. So next we've got the women's title match, and you've got Asuka defending against Charlotte and versus Bianca Belair.
mm-hmm.
And you couldn't find three stronger women as far, to put into a match like this. Maybe Becky if she was there, but other
She was
than
at home
that,
making lemonade.
yes, exactly. This one I liked, and maybe I'm biased because I've heard some mixed reviews online about this match. But I liked it. They did an injury kind of story with Bianca, where she was hurt on the outside and she was being carried or escorted to the back to get checked out, and then she comes in and ends up getting involved in the match and ends up winning the title back. And then I guess I'll just go ahead and say that they did. She was hurt, her knee was hurt, and she wins the title. And then you've got Io Sky's music hits, and Damage Control comes out, and Bailey has the briefcase and hits like Charlotte and hits Asuka or whatnot, and they do the cash in, and it ends up being Io Sky ends up winning the title to a big pop. By the way,
Oh yeah,
she got a massive pop. This was honestly, so this might not be all in all the best match or whatnot, but it was probably the most memorable to me, to have that kind of moment for Io Sky. I respect the heck out of her. I think she's fantastic. I'm a huge fan of hers, and I'm happy for her. I'm really happy for her. And and they had Dakota Kai, who was been injured, return to kind of celebrate with her. You had Bailey and Dakota Kai celebrating with Io Sky, and it was a really good moment. And I thought the match itself, like the triple threat match, was really strong. Actually, it wasn't perfect. There were some sloppy spots at times, but you're going to get that in a
wardrobe
triple threat match.
malfunctions.
Yeah, but we didn't mention that Brock had a wardrobe malfunction earlier in the night.
Oh yeah,
Um,
I forgot about his shorts ripping in
yes,
half.
his shorts ripped in half. We almost saw an F5 down below. If you, I don't know a better term for it.
Oh man,
um, yeah, but
we almost saw
yeah, they
Sable's
did.
property. He's what it
I had
was.
forgot about this, that they had a wardrobe malfunction where, was it Charlotte?
She had Charlotte's top unzipped and off the back right after she did a the moonsault or something like that. She did a big move, and she gets up and or she has her nip up, and you just watch the back of her thing flap open, and she like stops and looks around, and the other two work over to the corner because they have that spot where they're doing the corner spot. And she hurries and goes over to the rep, who's also a female. It's like, "Can you zip me up real fast?" And the other two are like fighting in the corner to try and eat up time while she's getting her stuff
Yes,
zipped
very
up.
awkwardly after a second of seeing what was going on. Did you mean to use the term nip up?
Well, that's what it's called. It's a nip up.
You could have said kip up, right? Is that
I
the
mean,
same
I
thing?
guess I could have said kip up. I
I
think
think
it's
that was
supposed
a
to be said
Freudian. I
a
think that was a
Freudian
slip.
slip.
Yes. Yep. Nip
Yeah.
up.
Um,
Yeah. What are your thoughts on the whole thing?
I thought it was a perfectly fine match. It is not the best triple threat that any of the three have had,
Yeah.
but it was a perfectly fine triple threat. Thought it told a story. I liked how they did the finish where Asuka missed um, Bailey, or not Bailey, Charlotte, while Bianca's in the figure eight. And then she goes to kick Bianca uh, to give her like a buzzsaw kick. She ducks it, rolls her up for a pin while still in the figure eight. I thought it was a great finish. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it was a perfectly fine match. I also am very happy that Io Sky was able to cash in and do that. I think she is well deserved of that. She was a great champion in NXT. I think she'll do fine for SmackDown. So,
Yeah. I like it a lot. Um. So next, you have the main event.
da da
See,
da.
we can do a 4-hour pay-per-view in an hour. I know it. Um. uh. So it's Tribal Combat, the Universal Undisputed World Heavyweight Championship. Which, if they're calling it the Undisputed Championship, is that really still true though? Since you have another world title now, can it really be the Undisputed Championship?
Um, sure. I mean, they could call their championships whatever the hell they want, right?
That's true. It's like they can call it the Entertainment Championship or the Dog and Pony Show Championship. I guess I don't know. Oh,
They can call it the devotional so well worldwide international ultimate or international infinity championship if they wanted to.
how does Sowell's butt taste?
What?
Because you're kissing up to him so much.
Hey, I'm a former holder of
You're
that
plugging
title.
him. Oh yeah, that's true. So anyway, you've got Roman Reigns against Jey Uso, and they've. I can't tell you enough how much this story has just been amazing storytelling, and you've got Jey Uso getting elevated once again, where this really all began, right, with the Bloodline.
Uh-huh.
These two fighting, what, 3 years ago now?
Yep.
Gosh, and when there was no fans. So now they've got plenty of fans, 50 something thousand people in the arena. And
They were all hot
uh
for Jay.
yeah, it started a little slow. They kind of stalled for a bit. Roman's tending to do that a lot actually. But once it got going, and it was a hard-hitting matchup. They tend to make these matches go really long, and I think it would be a little bit better if maybe they condensed it a little bit and kind of did less stalling. But other than that, this was a really good match. You had I really like that you had like Paul Heyman, on the outside, he added a lot, basically like telling Jey Uso when he was in control, hey, that's, your family and stuff like that, and trying to, get him to not dish it out. And then you had Roman Reigns trash talking like he does in the ring. He's gotten really good at that, actually. Um, and then you had the shocking twist at the end, where you had, it looked like Jay might be able to win it, and then somebody pulls him out that's wearing a mask, or he's covered up at least, and he reveals himself to be Jey Uso's brother, Jimmy Uso. And so the Usos are at odds again, I guess. And Roman ends up winning. Oh, and I do want to mention though that you also had Solo Sikoa having some dissension with Roman, and they kind of really played on that story, where I thought that that's where they were going next, and breaking them all up, but they didn't quite do that. In fact, Solo went through a table by Jey Uso. I think it was Jey Uso
Yep.
that put him through a table. And then, but yeah, they kind of, Roman wins again, and they kind of play it off, why did he pull him out? Oh, and he didn't just pull him out. He hit him with a super kick when Jey Uso was like, why are you doing this? Why Jimmy, why? And he super kicks him and basically, rolls him in for what would come. Yeah, I mean, I guess it doesn't, in my head, I'm trying to make it make sense. I'm sure they'll have a good explanation because they haven't messed this story up yet. So I'm hoping that they have a good reason why it's going, back to that. I did notice one thing though, that Jimmy Uso did not leave with Roman. He didn't, go inside with Roman. So maybe there's something to that he's not joining back with the bloodline, or at least not immediately, maybe not till SmackDown. But he, for whatever reason, didn't want Jey Uso to win this match. I don't know. I guess um we'll have to see where it goes. One thing I've really enjoyed actually is because I've stopped reading a lot of the dirt sheets. And so I've just been kind of watching as a fan.
Uh-huh.
I cannot tell you how much more enjoyable it has been when I don't know every little thing that's going to happen, or who's going to return, or who's going to turn, or whatnot, and just following the story. And it's actually been really enjoyable to me, even though I love to read the dirt. I love to read, what's going on, but I do it now after the fact, so I can kind of see, what people were saying, or read the comments of what they thought were going to happen.
Yeah.
But it didn't happen that way. So I kind of, I read the stuff after it's already happened now, so it doesn't ruin my enjoyment. But anyway, getting back on track, what did you think of the match?
I thought the match was very good for what it was trying to do. It got Jay over. Huge. Got Jay over. It also was able to build two additional stories. Of course, the one with Solo. So if you didn't see it, Solo and Roman have been doing this tag finish together, where Solo does the spike as Roman hits a spear at the same time. They grabbed Jay after Solo came out to help beat the crap out of Jay. And Solo's holding him for the spike. Roman's going to hit the spear. Jay moves out of the way and pulls Solo in the way, and he takes the spear. Shortly after that, Jay and Roman work out to the outside. Solo and Roman are fighting because Solo's yelling at him like, "You hit me, you hit me, you hit me," kind of thing. And Roman's like, "He pulled you, man. Like, I wasn't trying to hit you." And then Jay hits a spear right in front of him and then takes out Solo shortly after.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, the stuff with Jimmy. Now, I haven't seen anything on this, and I haven't heard anything yet, because they are doing this Hail to the Chief thing on Friday with Roman, and expected to have Jimmy there. I think the where you're going to find out is that Jimmy didn't care about Roman. He's still not going to side with him. What they're going to find out is that Jimmy, he's the older of the two twins, and that he thinks he deserves to be the next tribal chief, not Jay. And that's the reason why they're like, he always feels like every time that Jimmy's hurt or something like that, Jay's taken the opportunity to step up and do what's there, taking his opportunity, something like that. Um, they'll play on like how Jimmy was the one to leave the bloodline and then Jay followed, and that Jimmy did this and then Jay followed, and like there'll be stuff like that, and that's going to be the story. That what they're going to try and do is give them solo careers and build that way. Um, which I'm intrigued to see how that's going to go. Uh, I think it'll be Sean and Janetti kind of scenario if they break those two up and try to do solo careers. I see Jay continuing on and not so much for Jimmy. Um,
Yeah.
Jimmy's also often the one that gets into legal trouble all the time of the two brothers.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we'll have to see how it goes. But for the match itself, I thought it was perfectly fine. Um, it does show a lot of cracks in the armor for Roman. I believe too, if I remember right, Roman is got some injuries he's going through. So
Yeah,
he's taking.
I heard he got injured in the match. I don't know anything more than that, but
I haven't heard too much, but there's a worry out there right now that he's going to have to relinquish the title, which would be a crap
uh,
way to end the Bloodline storyline.
it would be horrible. That
So
would be 100% horrible that nobody beats him for it and you just waste that big reign.
yeah,
Because like, what do you do? Like, have him come back when he is able to come back and pick up where he left off, and now he has to hold it longer because he's got to get back up to where they. I don't know. I think they'd have to completely pivot their story, and that would just that'd be a horrible way. I really hope he's not injured where bad enough where he has to relinquish. Honestly, what I would do is if he's injured and he can't really continue, you do a squash with somebody, have somebody surprise him, with a quick pin, and you move the title that way. Because forfeiting it, just giving it up, oh, that would be horrible.
I agree. Honestly, if I was to do it at this point, I probably would do it where Jay gets one last shot at it or something like that, and then give it to him to at least keep it in the Bloodline storyline proceeding with that. Because you can
Yeah,
still storyline after that and things like that until Roman's able to do whatever he needs to, or possibly retire. I mean, Roman's been in the company now for like what 12 years, and he's been going pretty like regularly. The only time he took any real time off is during his cancer stuff. So
he's not ready to retire. I really don't believe that.
oh,
You know what's interesting though? They had on the press conference they had Paul Heyman talking, and somebody asked him like, what's what's next for the bloodline, how far into this story is, how much longer is this story going to go, and where's it at now with everything. And Paul Heyman says it's the bottom of the third, I'd say,
mm,
using a baseball analogy, of course, and said there's so many different ways it could go. Like, why did Jimmy Uso do what he did? What's going on with Solo and Roman? What's going on with, Cody's, quest for it, and all of these things. And I read a comment that somebody was like, wait a minute, with him using that baseball reference and saying bottom of the third, and Roman Reigns has held the title now for 3 years. Does that mean he's going? There's 9 innings in baseball. Does that mean that he's going to hold it for 9 years
no,
and break all the records?
no,
That would be
uh,
insane, wouldn't it? Though.
it would, it would. What Bruno had a what 6 years?
No, he had it 8.
He had eight
Backlund had
years.
it 6.
Okay,
Yeah, can you imagine? So yeah, Bruno's. I mean, if they're ever going to break Bruno's record, this is probably the best chance to do it. But I know you say, I know you're probably thinking like, there's no way I can see this going on for what another,
I've said that multiple
6 years.
times now in this
Yes,
podcast, and I have been wrong because they've always found a good way to continue it.
yeah. You were saying, I think just like a year and a half ago or whatnot, it's like, I thought they were building to Rock in Roman. You're like, well, they're not. There's no way they hold off, him losing or whatever all the way till WrestleMania. And then they did. Rock's story didn't happen again, but maybe they're holding out for the following year or the year after. Maybe as long as Rock holds out, they're going to keep the title on Roman until they get that darn match. It'll be Grandpa Rock. It'll be
Elder Rock there.
yes, Elder Rock. And it'd probably be something like, his theme song would have to change. It'd have to be like, do you see what the Rock is napping? Or something? I don't know. That's the best I got. I'm tired. Maybe I
Do
need to
you
be
see what
napping.
the Rock is? Who are you again?
Right. It doesn't matter who you are. There we go. And somebody could use that line on him. That would be awesome. Where it doesn't matter who I am. Yes.
Oh man. And you still have Foley come out and do a "This Is Your Life" for him.
Oh my gosh. It'd be like, yeah, it'd be a, this is your life. And then he'd come out and be like, what? How did I get out to the ring? What am I doing here again? It's like, do you remember
What's
your
going on?
teacher? Yeah, do you remember your teacher? No, I don't even remember being here.
What? Hey Mick, what's going on? Is it 1999 again?
Right? Oh
Oh
my
man.
gosh, this is stupid.
Yeah, that's explains why we're both so tired. So, but
Yeah.
all in all, I think this pay per view
Yep.
was a really good pay per view for what it needed to be. It built storylines. It ended. It put finalities on things. It did exactly what one of the big four pay per views is supposed to do, and it was a fairly good pay per view. There really wasn't a terrible match on this card. Even the MMA match was not terrible. It accomplished what it needed to do. It was brutal looking. It just wasn't for wrestling fans.
Yeah, it was. I think this was a good SummerSlam. Is it going to be up there with like one of the all-time great SummerSlams?
No,
No, I don't think so. But it moved the stories along.
yeah,
That's really what it did.
yeah. Sorry, I had a big old yawn. Just came out of nowhere.
It's okay. I've been young.
That being said, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the SummerSlam as much as we did. Let us know again what your thoughts were for SummerSlam and any of your thoughts about what's going on with this Bloodline storyline. And you can do all that by reaching out to us on social media on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at BeHero Media, as well as BeHeroMedia.com. You can also reach out to me at Mike Burke DCW on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, or on Twitter at Mike Burke Pro, or I guess X now, whatever it is. Thanks, Elon. And then you can also reach out to Psycho at Psycho Wrestling on Facebook.
What's Facebook? Where's my MySpace?
All right, guys. So the Motion Championship Wrestling show is coming up. So on Friday, as this is dropping on probably going to be Wednesday night or Thursday morning. So Friday on August 11th, we will be at Taylorsville for the Wild Wild West Festival in Taylorsville to do a fun time over there. Come out; it'll be super entertaining, especially if you like the Taylorsville days and the cowboy stuff. It's all about that stuff. And then August 19th, we are right back at Light Tree Studios in Salt Lake City for Back in Session. And then following that, on August 26th, it is up in Ogden at Kamikazes for Tussle Time 7. It's a good time to be out there. It's 21 over, so you get to watch people beat the crap out of each other while you get to drink. And then on September 16th, DCW Control at Trolley Square, where we'll be having EC3 as well as Chris Adonis joining us for that show, as well as many more. All those shows will be available for you to be able to get tickets. Just go online on Facebook at Motion Championship Wrestling or on Twitter at DCW Salt Lake City. Get your tickets now. You can also reach out to me directly to get tickets from me as well. So, All right, Psycho. Is there anything else you think of?
Uh, no, there's nothing I can think of at all.
All right. Well, guys, again, I hope you enjoyed SummerSlam, and we will be right back with you for AEW pay per views coming shortly, at the end of the
Mhm.
month, and then beginning of next month, because AEW wants to take all of my money and everything else. And then we'll be also following up in between there with a couple of other great episodes. So please make sure to subscribe and to this on whatever podcast system you listen to, and then also do me a favor and share it with your friends. Anyone you think would enjoy listening to wrestling stories from Utah, our opinions on wrestling going on right now, or just us jabbering about whatever. And don't forget to listen to some of our other great shows on here, including Catching Up with Turtle, as well as Slightly Agitated, all on the same feed. So, that being said, guys, I think we're done. I know I'm getting ready to head to bed. I'm sure that Psycho's right behind, not
Yes,
behind me, but also planning on going to bed at his own home.
yes, that got weird.
Right. Awkward. And
Oh,
sadly, I'm sad that it's not true.
oh, I'll check a
All right.
lot.
Before I get us any more creeped out, it's been a good time here for the rest of Be Hero Media. This has been Psycho and me, and it's us tapping out. Have a good night, guys.